In software engineering, we are taking chapter number 18, Mobile App Design. User interface design. User interface is where a user interacts through this user interface with the smartphone or the mobile. So this is the user interface, and this is the main thing for any user. So the design of this user interface, which will accept the command, is very important. So mobile device user, they want very less minimal learning time to master this application which we have made. They want that the icon should be consistent in any platform. The placement should be, on the same place. User may use the touch or the gesture. So the interface which are catering to this, along with the voice input which has increased so much now. So interface need to account for certain things. For example, the brand differences. There are different people, there are different brands, there are different ways the people see or want to work. The cultural differences. That is, a person who is in Arab, the person who is in, say, Uganda, the cultural difference, the user interface has to be different. So differences in the computing experiences. Some may have good memory, some may have less. Elderly people, that is those who need some time to learn and understand. And then the disability. Those people who are specially able, like the visual, oral, and especially the mobility, they are restricted with the mobility. The interface should be designed for all these different fields, different thoughts, different perspectives. So everyone is using it, even a normal person, even a person with special ability. He may be using something very different which a normal user don't want. So in order to meet or to satisfy all these stakeholders' requirement expectation, the mobile app, as a developer, you are a developer, you need to answer certain question. And if you are able to answer the certain question, I hope the user interface design will be good. So is the user interface consistent across application? Because if one application is being made by a certain company, the second application which you are using from the same company, are they consistent? Are the user interface consistent, or they are altogether different? For example, banking. For example, the same company is making something for crypto. So the user interface should be consistent. Is the device interoperable with different network services? Because you have different service providers, ISPs, different connectivity you are going through while you are using your mobile. So is the device acceptable in terms of stakeholder values in the target market area? That is, whatever user asks you for the market, are you able to provide everything? So a mobile user, when is using a user interface as a developer, there are certain design considerations. So here we see IO viewers. So they said that there are certain practices we have to follow. Define a user interface brand signature. That is, you have to make certain application which is different from the competitors. You need to have certain core elements in them. It should be responsive. Since the user would want to come to you if you provide like this. Focus the portfolio of products. That is, you have to target the audience. Okay? Not all platforms, they have same number of users. Don't target users, don't just target the product portfolio. Identify the core user stories. So as we said in QFD, we talked about QFD, that the requirement need to be implemented, but the resources in the mobile, they are constrained. So what are the core user stories requirements have to be first given. Optimize UI flows and elements. User are busy now. They don't want to wait. So I'll just give you an example. I pay a bill, or I get a bill on my email, I pay it. But when I go to find a receipt on the app, because receipt they don't send, it is so difficult to find it. This happens with me. Define scaling room. What does it mean? We have to determine the option that will be used when information to be displayed is too large to fit on the screen. So this information may be higher and the screen size is less. So the functionality, aesthetics, usability, performance has to be balanced. This is not your laptop or your big screen. Use a performance dashboard. That is, you have to show what are the user stories being implemented and the performance, because people want performance good from the competitor. Champion dedicated UI engineering skill. That is layout, graphic, animation. All these have performance implication. You have to do engineering, but with reference to, with thoughtfulness of all these things also. In user interface design, Eisenstein is not Einstein, is Eisenstein. So he claims that the use of abstract and a platform neutral models. He said that this is a better way to describe the user interface, and that will make the development of your app consistent, usable on multi-platform for different mobile systems. So he called it as a mobile-based design. And this model-based design, there are 3 different models. The approach is catering to 3 different models you have to see and make. Platform model, presentation model, and task model. So the platform model is describing upon the constraints which are imposed by each platform, because each platform you have to make your app to work. Apple iOS, Android, Symbian, these are different platforms and they have their different own constraints and limitations, and their standards are also different. So first you have to design platform model, then presentation model, that is how it is going to be seen on the mobile, that is the user interface, appearance. There are different screen sizes available. So presentation is very important, because if something looks good, then only people would like to buy it. Then the task model. Now this task model is a structured representation of the task a user needs to perform their business objective or goal. So what are the minimum bare requirement you have to fulfill that needs to be there? These are the task model. Then utilizing all these model-based design which we are talking about, utilizing the model-based design technique can also help designer recognize and accommodate the unique context and context changes that are present in mobile computing. Because in mobile, the context is very important, for which the user is working, what the user wants, and that requirement will change, the context will change. So we ought to use this model-based design. I'll give an example. If your mobile is lost, context is lost. But Google, they have come up with the idea that now if you just enter an email, you are able to retrieve all the contacts. So this is a kind of thing you need to think about. What do you want to show as far as context is concerned? Context aware apps. See, these are those kind of apps which are context aware. That is, if I am talking about buying something on my mobile, that is my context. If I want to see videos, that is a context. So we want to find the service that best fits the current context of the mobile user. User may be doing something today, may be doing something tomorrow, and most of the time a user experience or user work is known. So that knownness has to be applied while you are designing your software. Different people do different activities, and that is personal to them, and that is context to them. So that needs to be put in your app, so that your app also becomes the context aware. So context allow the creation of new application, which is based on the where the mobile is, location of the mobile device, and what are the functionality to be delivered for us or for different users, and to satisfy a different user's requirement. So context help to tailor, to change, to modify personal computer application for mobile devices. I'll give an example. For example, there is a doctor or health worker. Now he wants to see someone as a patient in his house. Now the home health worker has a mobile device or an application. He is getting all the information. He gets all the information. And this is so good. Before going to him, he gets all the information on his app, on his mobile. So this is what I am talking about, context. Using highly adaptive contextual interfaces is always a good way to deal with the device limitation, because the screen size is limited, the battery is limited, the memory is limited for the mobile systems. So this we want app to be adaptive and contextual. Device could be in any location. The device could be even in fixed location, like the alarm sensor. It can be embedded in some device, autonomous device. It can even be carried by any human being. So because the device is designed for different people as an individual or a group of the public, the device or the app must detect the presence and the identity of the user. Also, the attributes of the context which are only relevant to the user and permitted to the user, even if he is going to another device. Right? So this is a context aware app. Again I am telling, find the service that best fits the context user of or current user of the mobile user. Right? So he may be doing whatever, the app should facilitate it, should help it. For example, if you just search something in Amazon, those things will start coming everywhere. So the Amazon app is context aware. They know it. In order to achieve this context awareness, mobile system must produce or must get, receive, refine reliable information. There are certain uncertainty also, because the data may be rapidly changing, because it is coming from different heterogeneous resources. So extracting the good information, relevant information as per the user or what the user wants, there are certain challenges also, because every time you are not going to get everything perfectly. Sometimes the problem may be, there may be noise, because electronic device, mobile is an electronic device. Okay. And your app is a software, a kind of software. So you may get noise, miscalibration, wear and tear. Even the weather may play a very dominant role. So extracting the context awareness may be a challenge, and you need to cater for it. You need to be aware of it so that you plan it before you actually design your context aware apps. Let me give you an example again of Google Map. Now one time 10 years or 8 years back, I was going to some place and it showed that go to the right, and we went to a altogether different place. But now the things have changed, because the data is coming and good data is coming. So event-based communication is preferable, and it should be preferable also and preferred also. So software infrastructure should support different kinds of interaction, because user may be interacting with their gesture, hand, touch, voice, pen. There are so many ways. In a laptop, you will be dealing with mouse kind of action or keyboard. Here things are different. So user may desire to work with more than one device also simultaneously on the same product. For example, he may be using a touch screen device to edit, say, a document image, and the personal keyboard to edit the document text. So same document I'm talking about. One way he's changing the image, one way he's editing the document. So I'll give you an example of a multiplayer games, because there now people are playing games on different devices together. So the sharing of information, the network is involved, and this has to be delivered in real time. So this is a multi-billion industry, this gaming. So as a software developer, you have to cater to these requirements also. Lesson learned. What we have learned and what we need to keep in our mind as a software professional. So software engineers should modify and extend what are the conventional techniques. Because what we were doing, first we were planning, then we were gathering the requirement, then we design, then we code, then test, finally we give, that is deploy. So these are the conventional techniques. But we need to re-engineer, modify these to analyze, design, build, test mobile applications also. And every mobile usage is a user usage scenario, is a use case scenario. And for that you have to consider all the different location, user, device. And there will be some change, there will be transition between the contextual scenarios. User may be in bedroom, sometimes he is in kitchen, sometimes he is using stylus, sometimes he is using finger or voice. So all these are usage scenarios we need to consider. DASA and Carico, they have identified scenario variable types for different usage scenario. How the user is a different time, differently interacting with the user, the mobile or app. So the location and setting is an aspect. The movement and posture is very important. The devices and the usages, different devices may be used by different people in different way. Workloads and distractions. And of course, the user privileges and preferences and user wantedness. So the observation with respect to ethnicity, but that is called as ethnographic observation. This is widely used for getting information about who is going to use, because the world is more than 6-7 billion people. Different people use different way in how they interact with mobile, but they have different ethnicity. Okay. Somewhere cow is eaten, somewhere cow is God. So you have to be very thoughtful while you are making your app or design, you know. For example, if you are on shore, living on shore, you are living on mountain, the things will be different. So the complicating factor is users this complete task differently in private setting. If he is at browser, he may be doing different activities. Whenever he turns it to the incognito mode, he may be doing something different. So what you can do is, you can make a prototype, maybe created on a paper, simple paper. Then you may use some sketches, or you can use the index card or some post note. You know, because here you have to show the interaction, how user is going to interact, and what kind of ethnicity, what kind of place you are interested in. And then the use of these interaction widgets. Widgets are all these, you know, different way you interact. And the later prototypes that can be run on actual targeted mobiles once the layout and placement issues have been resolved in the previous sketches, etc. In order to design a mobile application, there are certain best practices. But before getting to best practices, what are the common mistakes we do? Because we know the mistake, then only we'll be able to say, oh, we don't need to do this. We have to avoid this so that we can be best while we are designing our mobile app. So the first is Joe Coster. He gave certain points. Kitchen sink. We are putting so many features on this app. Too many widgets. Simplicity is the key. Second thing is inconsistency. Some navigation is different, some buttons are different, some tabs are different here and there. So stick to a uniform, consistent look and feel. Over design. As intelligent people, sometimes we want to over design. We want to remove unnecessary elements and wasteful graphics. But while designing, don't be ruthless. Think and then do it. Lack of speed. See, there are constraints with respect to mobile apps and the mobile system. Okay, so try to preload, eliminate what is not needed. Verbiage. Sometimes we write certain things which are not to be given on a mobile. Okay, mobile app. Screen displays unlimited. So don't unnecessarily make long worldly menus or screen displays. Non-standard interaction. There are different mobile apps made for different platforms and they have already given standard. So need to follow that standard. We don't follow it, we just make it what we want. Help and FAQ. What is this? Sometimes we don't design the user interface properly, but we say, okay, we'll give the help and FAQ. Frequently asked question. That is not the solution. Help and FAQ when the user is troubled for something. Why you want to put him in trouble and then want to resolve? That's not the good way. So help and FAQ should be the last resort. Design properly. So there are certain important considerations while you're designing the mobile touchscreen application. And these are listed by Shoemaker. It can be your Apple iOS, it can be your Google's Android. So what are the important considerations? First is identify your audience. You are making app for audience. What are their expectations? What are the backgrounds? It may be experienced user, it can be less experienced user. A 16-year guy and a 61-year-old person, they have different way of working or interacting with the app. Design for context of use. What kind of use? What way of use? So how the user will interact with the real world while using mobile app. There is a fine line between simplicity and laziness. You want to make the app as simple as possible. But you're so lazy to give certain things saying, oh, I'm just making it simple. So making it simple and being lazy are two different things. Don't be lazy. KISS principle you should follow. Keep it simple. But don't avoid those which are important for user. Use the platform as an advantage. See, touch screen navigation is not very intuitive. It has to be learned by all the new users, especially differently abled and the old age people. So use these as an advantage. Make it, the user interface designers should adhere to the standards because standards are already provided. Why not just to follow them? If you follow them, this will be better for the user also. Scroll bars, these are not meant for the mobile use or the tablet. They are for your big screens. So scroll bars are very difficult to locate because the touch devices, the screens are very small. Menu or icon borders should be wide enough for the color changes because you want the user's attention. For different people, for example, we have colorblind people. So you need to give sufficient contrast between colors which are in the foreground and the background. Because you will be able to understand what about the other majority people who want to use it. Increase the discoverability of advanced functionality. Sometimes you want to give advanced feature. You don't know it. Your friend will come, you say, oh, you know about this thing, there is a feature here. And you feel very shameful. Oh, I don't know about it. This is not your problem. The advanced functionality is not given properly so that you are able to discover it. It is not there for most of the people. Some may have discovered it. Use clear and consistent label. What you see, what you get. If something is good, people will buy it. So you see this screen is so clean. And the colors are so good. It is consistent. The labels are important what you write. So widget labels, are something what you interact with the system, right? So widget label should be recognized by all application user. If you are using abbreviation, don't use it first of all. If you are using, use it cautiously. Let me write just a random RIST. You are aware as a developer How about the actual user? Sometimes we want to be clever. Okay. We do it at the expense of user understanding. User is naive. He is novice. He wants everything to be very easy. So, to enhance recognition, try to give a label beneath some icon which is not understood, novel icon. Then support user expectation for personalization. This mobile is a personal thing. It is kept personally. So indicators users what feature can be personalized and how to do it. Long scrolling forms trump multiple screens on multiple devices. So the experience and those who are going to be experienced, they are happy on only one screen. They just want to scroll and they want to do only on one screen. So try to be faithful to them. Mobility environment. Now this we are going to see in the next discussion. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.